All right, Father, who are shining down on us always, and Mother Earth, who is lifting us up always. This, the time that we're in today is the time that every generation for the longest time has believed that the end times was going to be. And I think for the last 40 generations, I think by the time it's reached this now generation, we've stopped believing that that's actually a thing, right? And it's not exactly in the way that entirely is unknown to us, and that's on purpose. So I'm going to send out the ability for your hearts to accept this openly, and because you are on an emotional connection to the information, and it is coming from bigger than you can conceptualize at this time, not because you are incapable or because you are supposed to know this, but because it's been blocked from you by ways of keeping us trapped in our animal nature. I don't know if any of you saw my video yesterday where I went live during a pretty unique moment in my everyday life that I have been guided to recognize the role that I play in that. Okay, so what I'm saying is, whether or not you believe in chakras, or you believe in God, or you believe in what, it doesn't really matter what you believe, okay? Because we all know that we can feel high vibration, and we can feel low vibrations, right? And so we know that there are people we can be around sometimes who are energy vampires, you know what I mean? And a lot of us don't really, because a lot of people on this planet are such nice people and really, love thy neighbor and love thy brother and thy sister, and honor the elements of everything around us. So we can talk about this on a general level to get you to this level of choice, okay? So there's a couple of overruling themes that are constant in every human, and okay, Spirit, continue to provide the correct words that's going to help me really get this message across so that everybody can understand it in a way that they can embody what I'm saying truly, so they know, and even if they slip out, they can bring back to this. Okay, so if you are going to point fingers at anyone, first I need you to really recognize what you're doing to yourself, really what you're doing to yourself by doing that. It's not just a nice thing to be like, oh yes, when you point a finger, yeah, there are 3 more pointing back at you. By pointing your finger at somebody else, you are causing the unawareness of those other 3 fingers pointing back at you, and that actually can affect your life in very archaic ways that are in a way designed that way. So and even when we do this to ourselves and we blame ourselves in any sort of fashion whatsoever, we create a dissonance in the frequency of Earth's vibration, our personal vibration. They become almost like like harder to connect to, right? So what does that mean? That means that the more that I choose to look at somebody else instead of looking at myself, I actually am pushing myself away from what I want, which is whatever I am pointing out at in somebody else that I am questioning is actually an opportunity for me to recognize that is not just not right, but it's not a right or wrong thing, actually, because anything that any of us do on this planet, when we operate in a self-seeking me versus you competition, or feeling entitled that one or more of us is better than the other one, regardless of creed, race, whatever, we amplify a power so dark on this planet to engulf us, because we don't understand what that means, okay? So when we can really affect the future of our children's lives, and I'll bring the children into it, because children usually, I don't believe humans want to operate out of the centers within their unawareness that they're accessing on a daily basis. And this is why it's so important for people to understand what I'm saying. Because just like, the planet has frequencies and it gets affected by the sun, for instance. How do I say this? Okay, think of a black hole, okay? So if we chose to stay inside all day, every human, and alone and in our own space, because we didn't want to look at ourselves, because it's scary, because we feel like by looking inwards and actually blaming everything that's gone on. Shut up. I'm just kidding. Everything that's going on in our lives, we blame on ourselves because we don't understand how our brain works. We're killing ourselves, okay? Every single day by doing this. The human mind operates on a subconscious level, which has been manipulated by a force that is unseen, okay? And, you all know that you can feel these feelings in you because of ways that feel more dredging to get through, okay? And I'm trying to get this out in a way that will make sense so that people can accept where they're at in their life and stop blaming themselves. This is super important. This is not going to be like anything else you probably ever heard, and I'm going to put it out like this because this is how important it is, okay? So, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie, Apocalypto. They indigenous tribe, I believe, of Mexico, I think it was the Aztecs, they were indigenous, and they thrived on this planet just fine, okay? And one day they were out and there was initiation going on between young men and the elders of their tribe, showing them, communing them, and going through a ritual of becoming aware of respect of every living being, regardless of their need to survive, okay? Even though they knew they needed to survive, they still did it with respect. And what I mean by that is, when they hunted, it was more spiritual, okay? They would offer things to these animals in way of grace for sacrificing their flesh for human consumption to survive, okay? And this was very altruistic in the most beautiful way, in my opinion. And during this ceremony of ancient initiation by means of indigenous cultures that have been strategically being controlled and taken off of this planet, a lot of these subjects are kind of hard for us, that we know that they hurt us in our heart when we hear this, right? Native Americans and their land and everything else. But it's hard for us, especially as Americans, to hear it because we're in America and we blame ourselves for it. This is what we got to cut out right now, because the people, those that came before us, they didn't have the awareness of what we do now today. So we need to accept that right away, and also stop looking at the things that are flowing through your mind and attaching anything to do with your life to them. Your thoughts are not reality, and your thoughts are not even yours. And until you take the road to knowing thyself, this will be the quickest and easiest way that you won't get trapped in what we're experiencing, which many civilizations on this earth have gone through and we've witnessed. And what we've witnessed actually is the fall of those who refuse to accept the idea that I am trying to explain here. So we found cultures all over the world that have mysteriously, looks like they've just like completely vanished, right? And if you look into those cultures, you will find out that they've thrived on community and were very connected to nature, very aware of the planets, because they affected the way that things grew on the planet that they needed to survive. So it became an altruistic respect and awareness, not a worship thing. Okay, it was a respect thing. Okay, and what the church has done, and whoever else, I don't know if I want to point a finger at the church, because I'm not trying to point fingers, because I don't want anyone to feel attacked at all, because that's immediately something else that is going to, if you wish for the good of all, and you can actually do that. If you were thinking of this world as if, like, say, something, God forbid, because he does, something out of our control happens, and we, our government is exposed, and we have to basically take the world, like take our life, we have to take care of ourselves. Okay, we've seen the way the movies portray this, and it's not good in my opinion. And because this world has been through so much, and it's been fucked up, and we don't really know why, we have this innate fear about a lot of this stuff, because it's almost so triggering that it keeps these animalistic natures on high alert. Okay, we are animal, but we are also much more, we have consciousness, right? So we actually only operate 5% of the time in conscious awareness, or we only have the ability to tap in to or be conscious 5% of the time. 95% of the time, our brain is operating on a subconscious level, meaning that it's on an override, right? So and it gets programmed by the time we're 7 years old. Certain things get programmed in, okay? And a lot of you guys can resonate with what I'm saying, because maybe you have a story about childhood where something happened, and this will hit you exactly where you know what I'm saying, because you lost the connection to your imagination, your inner world, the inner world that you had, that you could feel and was very real for you. Even the children today that I speak to have this today. Some of them still do. And all it takes is a little tap into it again to make it aware, okay? So we've been forced into our below the belt chakras, which are distorted relationships and a distorted awareness of where we actually come from, what our roots actually are. Okay, so in that idea, because the world has been so misled, and there's been so much heavy energy, and just people don't have it in them really to kind of continue to be better because it's literally, the energy is so dense here. We unknowingly get trapped in a world we're unaware is taken over by our need for that God-sized hole that we are all trying to fill. You know what's crazy is that God-sized hole that we are all trying to fill is actually right here. It's our solar plexus chakra. And our solar plexus is connected to source, the sun, okay? The sun, you can call it Jesus, you can call it the sun. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. Just understand the idea, okay? And until you understand that the sun actually, energetically and scientifically and on symbolically, esoterically, mystically, all of these different things, it actually does that. It doesn't matter what religion, what idea, atheist or whatever you believe in. It's a fact that our sun affects our body. It gives us energy. It charges us up, okay? Now, the connection that we have with the sun comes through our solar plexus. That invigorates our life. That invigorates our senses to happiness and joy and creativity and imagination and, you know, all of the beautiful things that the sun imbues through its rays, or the source of you know, enlightenment, of awareness on our planet. Because without the sun, we wouldn't be aware of our earth, right? And earth would not be even able to grow at all, really, if it wasn't aware that they needed the sun to live, okay? So the lower chakras are orange and then red, all right? So the orange one is going to be basically how our relationships are viewed. And if we had bad examples or trauma or things like that, anything really, kind of distort our idea of what a relationship is, because it wasn't embodied in the parent that was instilling it in us properly. And that's not their fault, because you need to understand this, not to blame anybody. You cannot blame anybody. You have to accept this for yourself, or else you become a trap for yourself. You are your own key. So your relationships got distorted, and you can recognize that because something maybe happened to you at a certain time, because you maybe say things like, I always act like this because my mommy did this, or my dad did that, or this happened, or that happened, okay? So now you've recognized that that's what that is, right? That's where your solar plexus, or excuse me, your sacral chakra, sacral. I don't know why I am getting stuck on that word, but I feel like there's something, what sacral is kind of giving me sacred, but I don't know why. So just understand that I'm just picking this up on just going with the flow, and the words are coming to me how they're meant to come to me. So, and then you the next one, the lowest one, is the root chakra. So in the mother's womb, this is when that awareness of how to act in the world is created. Okay, so imagine yourself in a bubble that you cannot see outside of, and all you can feel and all you know is what you feel through the umbilical cord, right? Which is actually connected through the solar plexus, the sun, okay? Whew, this is very deep, but I need the whole world to understand this, because I do not, and I cannot continue to see people not go to the promised land, if you will, because they are blind. And it doesn't matter if you're blind and you are unaware of this information, because you can trap yourself here. And I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. We're in a time where we have so much awareness. We have so many things that are being let up inside of us via the sun and the knowledge that we have. They can't burn down the internet, okay? They cannot. And they could try to tell us that the sun's going to knock out those things, and maybe it does. So, imagine that you have access to every single thing that's ever existed on this planet, okay? And even if the sun were to knock it out and it just disappear, we would still have access to it inside of our own body because of our subconscious brain. Our subconscious actually could literally recall every single thing in any moment in our existence if we could just get past the conscious brain, which is only active 5% of the brain, but it's so like it's controlled mostly by the awareness of ourselves, which means that if we've only woken up to where we come from and our mom and dad and marriage and brothers and sisters and that kind of stuff, if we're only open and aware of and in operating in these two awarenesses, which are portals, they're energetic centers that bring us online, okay? So imagine that there's a force so nasty that could not be detected, and it pushed us to operate out of those chakras, which are like two-dimensional in my opinion. I'm just going to use that. They're lower than actual 3D. They're actually they're meant to create the world of 3D for us, but it's been manipulated. And I know a lot of you can understand what I'm saying and accept this, regardless of what religion or beliefs that you have. You know, everyone is very interested in ancient civilizations, pyramids, and things like that. It's not until you get to the western side and in America where we have this instilled in our actual DNA, and by way of not actually accessing the information of the higher worlds within ourselves, we stay trapped in the worlds of all of that us that came before us, okay? I really hope that this is coming out so that you can pick it up. But don't worry, I'm going to keep going every single day to try to come at this in different angles, and I know that it will reach exactly who it needs to reach and exactly the right moment, and they will really hear what I have to say so we can take power back for ourselves, okay? They don't want me to say this, but now that I know my power, I know that I cannot be reached, okay? My faith in what I know is unshakable, and it's undefeated, and I've witnessed this for myself. So now, because of what I actually know and the things that I've been guided to my entire life, I think I might actually be able to assist things in this way because I was born to do this. So I recognize that's my capacity, and that has been proven to me in an unshakable testimony through tests of my own faith and awareness to this. So, you know, I got to a point in life where I recognized that I was repeating patterns, that I was accessing or finding men that I was completely oblivious were fucking not really the way they came across. Their actions didn't match their words. And because I had false ideas from my parents of what love looked like, because the feelings were out of the picture and the image was just there, I sought after the image of what I thought love was, and it was a romanticized, fake fucking thing, which they didn't even actually embody themselves, right? So with that idea, we're completely cut off of the awareness of the sun and our connection to everything else outside of the mother and father. Okay, and what is it that most people, they cannot, they're almost ashamed to accept themselves fully around their parents because they've been, belittled, or they didn't feel good. And that, if it doesn't feel good, that should be your sign right away, okay? And I'm asking that you all kind of test any of this that I'm saying for yourself so you can really understand what I'm saying. And it takes a simple little thought or, an intention and an awareness to the actual vibration that you're sitting in, okay? If you are somebody who would give the shirt off your back to a homeless person without a shadow of a doubt, great. If you have a hard time allowing your sister or your brother to use your Barbies, That's a pure indication, and you will only know this, and no one's going to check you on it, because you only know it for yourself, because our actions can be manipulated. Each human can act a certain way but really believe a different thing or feel a different thing, right? And you can see it on their face. Even if, say for instance, like the other I borrowed a bowl that was basically had somebody else's name on it, but because it was the only bowl that worked in that moment, I personally figured that that isn't a big deal, because if I have a bowl, if I need a bowl and you have a bowl, if I had a bowl and you needed a bowl, it wouldn't be no question in my mind, and there would be no like attachment to whose fucking bowl it is, right? So any competition, any need for being correct or needing to know something is a lie. All I know is that I know nothing. And any attempt to make somebody aware that you are something that you know you are pulls you into a trap. So just know that if you are at a place in your life where you feel like you can't get up from the fucking underneath the mud, there's nothing that you can do. You feel the wrath of something that is so powerful over you that you feel helpless, and that's the only way. You feel like you've already lost. You're wrong. You are wrong. Stop. That is a lie. You're not wrong. It's a lie. You aren't aware, and it is not your fault. If we can all accept these things immediately, we won't get trapped here, okay? I know I'm not going to get trapped here, and I'm not trying to let anybody else get trapped here, because I know that they know not what they do. We can all believe that we are good people, but the vibration thing is a real thing. So notice when things don't feel good. Notice when somebody is trying to make you feel bad, okay? And it's very subtle, and they could be smiling right in your face, okay? Know that any fear or judgment or somebody that tells you that you're doing anything wrong is not to be trusted. And also know that they don't recognize that within themselves. And know that when we get into that type of frequency, we can be siphoned, and basically something else can take over us, because we haven't accessed the power over our mind. And this is all by design. And so don't make decisions based on where you're at. Make the decision with the knowing that every choice that you make in that frequency is going to continue to keep you trapped in it. And, we wonder why all civilizations collapse in a terrible way. It's because we don't know where the rest of the people that didn't actually just choose that and believe it without a doubt, and not even attach it to any God or idea or anything, but just the feeling alone, literally, can trap you here. So there's a lot of darkness that has been flooding in us, all of us, every one of us, because it lives in us, because we are both dark and we are both light, and we have free choice. So make your choices with that awareness. And if you're interested in learning more and understanding what I'm saying to the point that you would like to help your neighbor, I will be on, and I will be posting as often as possible, anytime God has, or source, or anything that I'm picking up on telepathically through the airwaves, or you know what I mean. It doesn't matter, and if you're a witch, if you're Christian, if you're Catholic, if you're Buddhist, you know how to treat people, and it doesn't matter. The labels, drop them. The religions, you need to drop them, because if you believe you're a good person and you actually believe in heaven on earth, or that we can be instruments in this, the future, then act in that instrument and recognize that you are an instrument, and you are being played, or can be played as an instrument for your demise. And I'm telling you this because it's so uncommon and so unaware in the humans around everybody, and even myself, that I have to check it every time any creeping thought comes in my mind of doubt, confusion. Anytime that any of that comes into your mind, immediately transmute it. And what that means is recognizing it and, either visualizing it flushing out of your system, or energetically, brushing it off of your body like that 3 times, and or casting it out of yourself via just intention by maybe taking a salt bath or doing a little skippity doody, or you know what I mean. All of those things are actually ways to transmute your energy back into your control, right? So because you're doing an action can change everything in a second, and that could be flicking a lighter on and off, or lighting a cigarette with intention to bring you up to a higher vibration. And this is something that I know is true, and I've seen it work. Even doing chores, when you're doing chores, and or you can use the dishes to change your vibration intentionally by recognizing that water flows and just cleanses and can smooth over, or fire can encompass and burn away things, and air can be breathed in, and it can also speak and blow energies that are not seen, and the earth can also do this for us by walking outside or connecting in nature with our hands and our feet. Okay, I hope this message reached you in a way that at least you can become the observer of your vibration and your every waking moments, and know that no choice is too far. Literally none. I know that sounds crazy, but literally no choice is too far. I grew up in a really crooked family that did not believe that that they were forgiven from things that they didn't believe, because they chose the 3D world of giving to get, and any giving to get is not a good place to be at, because you want to give because it feels good. And what is it that it means to be human? To feel good, and to follow your gut. And if you are having to feed your gut to get to get something, yeah, same thing. I hope this message reached you. Thank you.